Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh is the
Dr. Doreen is an expert in autism.
Doreen Granpeesheh.
Dr. Granpeesheh.
Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh.
Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh is a visionary in the field of autism. Now you can ask her questions on Ask Dr. Doreen.
Start with, Ria wants to know, how can I get my 6-year-old to understand not to bite?
Yeah, so, and I see that Ria wrote later and said, I have him in ABA, but he's biting people.
Thank you.
So, Ria, and all challenging behaviors like biting, you have to find out why he is doing it. It's really important to know what the reason is. And in ABA lingo, we call that the function. And so he could, for instance, he could be biting people to get them to leave him alone. That's basically called escape behavior. He could be biting people just because he likes the way they react. So he's trying to get their attention. He could be biting people to try to get access to something. Like, let's say a child has a toy and he wants it. He will bite the child and grab the toy, that kind of thing. And each of those has a different treatment to get rid of it. So you really have to start by saying, why is he biting this person? And if you can identify the function of each time, sometimes the function is the same, no matter who it is he's biting. So for instance, he just might be biting people who place demands on him, and he is trying to get them to leave him alone. And that in those, let's say that's the function, is he's escaping a demand. And if that's the function, you have to make sure that he does not get to escape. So that you have to block the bite, which is difficult, but if you know that he's about to bite, they have to be able to prevent him from harming them, but not allow him to escape the demand that was just placed. Maybe make the demand a little bit easier. Definitely increase the reinforcers once he complies with the demand or does whatever they're asking. Increase the reward, make it an easier ask, but never let the child get what they want when they bite. Because if you do, then the child is learning that biting is a very useful and effective way of communicating. And that's the key to it. It's that our kids are not doing these aggressive behaviors, challenging behaviors because they're mean. They're doing these behaviors only because they are trying to communicate something, and they've learned that this is an effective way of communicating it. A lot of teachers used to come and tell me, like, I don't know what he does. Why does he always tantrum? We take him out of class when he tantrums, but he continues to do it. And that is a great example of how the child is rewarded for something they're doing, because the child, who doesn't want to be taken out of class and walk around the campus? That's like way more fun than sitting in class and having demands placed on you. So when things become effective, when a way of communicating, whether it's biting or screaming, tantruming, hitting, works, when we get what we are trying to get, then that behavior becomes ingrained. So you have to make sure that the behavior, whether it's biting or hitting or whatever it is, doesn't work for him. And whatever you had asked, if it's a demand situation, you just keep going at it, right? So maybe you can write back in and tell us why he bites, if you know. And if you don't know, that's when you need a BCBA, someone who's board certified in behavior analysis, and they can easily come in and observe and see exactly what's happening right before the behavior, right after the behavior, and they can figure out what the actual function is. And once we know the function, then we can tell you how to deal with it.
There you go. I know one of the big aha moments for me as a parent Because I would look at what you guys would do with my son and I would go, it's magic. It's magic. I don't quite get it. How are they getting him very quickly to stop doing the thing that he's doing? And every time they come in the house, he doesn't do that thing. I really couldn't get it. And then honestly, we were a couple of years into ABA and someone said to me, well, you know, because I said, why is he doing this? And it was Art Wilkie who said to me, well, you know, there are the 4 usual suspects.
Yeah.
And I talk about this all the time now. Now I know for you like to boil it down even smaller, that you were either going to things or going away to things. But
Yeah.
my problem with that, Dr. Granpeesheh, is that I could never figure out if my son was biting, what was he going to or what was he going away from? And having the 4 usual suspects, for some reason, it helped my brain.
Yeah.
And do you want to go over what the 4
Sure.
usual suspects
Sure.
are?
I mean, and we've talked about this, and it applies to all human beings and all behavior. And I like to boil it down to just 2 things, which is essentially we're trying to gain access to something. Like you want to get something or you want to avoid something. That's essentially what it is. And now with the getting something, you might want to get an object. Like I want a toy, or you might want to get access to, I want to go outside and play. So you're getting something, or you're avoiding something, which is you want to avoid the same thing. Like I don't want to be told what to do. I don't want to be in a classroom. I want to get out of this classroom. So those in ABA lingo, when you want to get an object or a thing, we call it a tangible function. That means it is something that you are trying to gain access to, a tangible function. The other thing that you might want to get is attention. So attention is another function. And the thing that you mostly want to avoid is, different objects. So we call that an avoidance or an escape function. Those are the 3 main ones. The 4th one is what we call a sort of stereotypical ritualistic type of function. And that has a lot to do with not knowing enough about autism. So for instance, we call it an internal function. So it's kind of like the person is self-stimulating or doing body rocking, and we don't know what is causing them to do it, but it's something internal to the human being. So, and to me, those are things like pain, anxiety, all of those things. Like the person has pain and they're trying to avoid the pain. Again, to me, it boils down to the 2, right? Or they have a headache, and by doing this, it helps their headache. Those types of things. So, but essentially, if you think of any behavior at all, it's always going to be those things. The reason is always going to be one of those 4 that I mentioned.
If you found anything helpful in this video, please give us a like. In fact, make sure that you smash that subscribe button on YouTube and give us a like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram for important updates. And please download our free podcast wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now.
To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.
Don't forget, you can watch Ask Dr. Doreen live every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time on autismnetwork.com. We hope to see you there.